Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's conversation is all about fitness, discipline, and building a body and mindset that can actually support the life you want. I'm joined by Tai Erasmus, a globally recognized fitness and nutrition coach with over 3 decades of experience helping everyone from elite athletes and Hollywood actors to everyday people transform their health and performance. From fat loss to peak performance, his approach is practical, strategic, and built on real world results. Tai, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for the intro, Joy. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so heads up, we're going to be diving a little bit into your 20s.
Yeah, yeah, let's do it.
All right, so take us back to your 20s. What did your fitness journey look like at that stage of your life?
Yeah, for me, I've always been involved in sports. Um, I participated and competed in sports from a very young age, so even before my 20s. In my 20s, I competed in Olympic target shooting, actually, and I really enjoyed that. It was very challenging. I would train. I think I was doing 5 days a week back then.
Mm,
And the training sessions were anywhere from 2 to 5 hours per day. And so juggling that with a job as well at the time when I first started in the fitness industry, it was challenging,
mm,
but I was very passionate about both. I was passionate about the sport that I was competing in at the time, as well as I was just starting my fitness career. And so it was yeah, it was a very disciplined time, in a different way than it is now. I'm more focused on my clients now rather than competing in a sport that was there were team events in the sport, but it's a single event in the sense that most of the sport is you're competing essentially with yourself and then the other people that are in the competition. So yeah, it was an exciting time as well, because I'm just starting my career, and it was a very different time back then too, because the fitness industry when I started, and this really dates me, was when big hair and spandex and leg warmers were still popular, and
mm,
so it was a very different time then. Bodybuilding was very popular back then as well, and then the industry started to change, meaning personal training became a little more common. When I
mm,
first started in the industry, the only people that were doing personal training or receiving personal training or coaching were actually actors and athletes. That was basically it, elite athletes. So it wasn't commonplace. And so the trainers that did have education that were working in gyms at that time, at least in the city that I'm based out of, they were referred to more as floor trainers. So
mm,
they would do had a bunch of different responsibilities or duties. So they would help people to use the equipment properly. However, they would also be, cleaning up weights that people wouldn't put away, or they would be wiping down equipment. And so just doing almost some janitorial jobs as well at the same
mm,
time. So it was very different. Now you walk into any gym and there's always going to be a personal trainer there on staff.
mm,
Either an independent trainer, meaning they run their own business, but they're based out of that location, or a trainer that works directly with the gym
mm,
specifically. So a lot has changed, and the industry has grown rapidly, over the 3+ decades that I've been in the industry. And I love it because it's always evolving. So, but to go back to your question about in my 20s, like I said, it was a very exciting time, and um, and anybody that is passionate about fitness or nutrition, Now in their 20s, they have so much more available to them. Back then, anyone that wanted to study personal training, you would learn, the biology, the physiology, the biochemistry component, but there was no business support.
Mm,
Meaning, if you wanted to go out on your own and start your own personal training business, there really wasn't any education or support for that. Now it's completely different. So people in their 20s have way more support now if they're passionate about the topic or the career,
mm,
to be able to learn everything that they need to and also learn how to build their business and to grow their business or to start their business. So anyone that's in their 20s now that is considering it, it's much easier for them to get into it. It's more competitive. So you want to think about how you're going to position yourself as different or unique or whatever that niche is for you. And I always encourage people to just figure out what your passion is. What's the thing you're most passionate about within the fitness industry or fitness in general, and specialize in that. Because then it's not
mm,
really work. You're still going to work hard, but it's always exciting and it remains exciting for people. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does
Yeah.
actually.
Okay.
It's interesting. And from the look of things, right, it shows that you've always been consistent even in your 20s, right? You've always been consistent. You've always,
Yeah. Yeah.
motivation. You were always motivated and you had those habits of discipline and consistency,
Yeah.
like I said, which is something worth emulating. And
Yes.
what I could bring out of that is, as young adults, from your experience, it is possible, right, to be consistent and, develop habits that could help us over time, right? So, yes,
Yes.
that's what I could learn from your 20s. And now,
Yeah.
moving on, I want us to do a deep dive. So
Yeah.
now you've worked with athletes, actors, and everyday people. So what
Mhm.
separates those who get results from those who don't?
Well, you touched on it. You mentioned it already, which is discipline.
Mm,
So discipline, commitment. I encourage people to ask themselves 5 questions
mm,
when they are starting their, we'll call it fitness journey. It's a common phrase that's used. Is for anyone that's starting their fitness journey, whether to be a personal trainer or just their own personal fitness goals, is to first of all get really clear. And I encourage people to write them down in a journal or whatever works for them. It can be in an app, it can be just, on their phone, whatever. But get really clear about what it is that they want. So very detailed, almost like writing a wish list.
mm,
So that's the first thing. Get really clear about what it is that you want. Now, get the next thing you want to get clear about is why do you want it?
mm,
Why is it important to you? Is it because you want to be healthier? You want to have more energy? You want to fit into that summer dress? You, maybe you had a family member who had an illness and that inspired you to take better care of yourself. I mean, for everyone, it's different.
mm,
And so getting clear about why it is that's important to you. The next question should be, and you can have multiple answers too, just to be clear. It doesn't have to be
mm,
one specific one, but it can be multiple. Is what are you going to do to get it, to achieve it? And when you write it down, it becomes really clear because when you just say, I want to be fit, it's just sort of this idea. But once you start writing it down, it becomes very clear what that looks like for you. And again, for every person, it's different. Every person's muscle mass is different. Every person's body fat percentage is different. Maybe it's not even aesthetic. Maybe it's performance based. Again, if you
mm,
play a sport, or maybe you just like to hike and you want to be able to hike better or make it easier in some way. So I think that's the next question is getting really clear about what you're going to do to achieve that. Is it going to involve some type of eating discipline? Is it going to involve a certain number of workouts per day or a week? Sometimes there are clients that do work out twice a week, but that's a very specific goal. Um, but how often are you going to exercise? What kind of exercise are you going to do? I always highly encourage that if you're new to exercise, you got to do the stuff that you love, that you enjoy doing. If you're choosing to do exercise, workouts or exercise programs that you don't enjoy, you're not going to stick with it. So it has to be something that you really enjoy. Maybe you enjoy working out with a friend and you enjoy the camaraderie of that or the accountability, because if you're going to meet them at the gym or pick them up on the way, they're expecting you to show up. And so there's a great accountability component to that. So I think that's the third question is what are you going to do to achieve it? Then the fourth question is what is it going to cost you if you don't do it? So it can be time, in weeks, months, years. It can be, again, your health, general health. It can be, again, as I mentioned earlier, that summer dress that you wanted to fit into. It could be, you know, maybe it's just for yourself in general. You hold yourself to a higher standard, and you feel that you're not living up to that standard. For every person, it's different. And so to really clarify what that is for you. And then the last question is, what is it going to what is it going to how are you going to feel when you achieve it? How is that going to make you feel? How is that going to enhance the quality of your life? What new things would you do that maybe you don't do now? um, you know I think once an individual gets clear about those five questions, then you've got a solid path forward. You understand what your individual needs are. And I encourage people to review those notes every day at first. And then, it may get to once a week. But have your action plan in place immediately and take that first step and make it just a small step, whatever that is. So it can be something as simple as just going for a walk, you know, if again, if you're new to exercise. It can be a certain way that you want to eat. So that could be, more frequent meals per day, or it could be more evenly spaced meals per day, or it could be the composition of your meals each per day. It can be, um, you know, looking at what you eat and determining what's missing from your daily eating. I like to focus more on what you can do versus what you shouldn't be doing. You know, so more of a positive approach forward rather than don't do this, don't do that, da, 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 right? That never really works. But when you're inspired and motivated about what to do, then you have an action list, and that helps the individual to move forward that way. And again, very easy steps. So it can just be something simple like, I don't know, say you don't eat enough fiber. You're eating more fibrous vegetables or fibrous foods. Maybe it's not enough protein, so you add more protein, to your eating program, or whatever it is that you choose to follow. Um, the other thing to consider that a lot of people don't, because we're all like, burning the candle at both ends, so to speak, is the recovery phase of your exercise or fitness program or lifestyle. And so often there's not enough emphasis. It's all about doing, right? Being a human doing, not a human being, right? And and so I think that often that's an area that's neglected for people. So something really simple, like a simple example of that is not getting enough sleep when you need to recover from your exercise. It can be, some people might need to stretch more. Others may need maybe something like massage or maybe someone has an old pre-existing injury and they start exercising and they're finding that that might be a limiting factor for them. So getting support with that in some way, figuring out how to correct that old injury if it's preventing you from moving forward. So there's lots of things, and I can go into a lot of detail on that. It just depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. But in reference to nutrition, for example, that's another way to improve recovery. And often there's not enough focus, I would say, in what to eat, when to eat it, what the ratios of your proteins to carbs to fats should be. And we have both micronutrients and macronutrients. And so, there's a lot that an individual can do to really maximize that. And one of the coolest things that clients experience when they start to adjust their nutrition is their energy levels go up right away. And I mean, who do you know that doesn't want more energy? Right? I think
Right.
that, and it's amazing how, I mean, literally, I've worked with tens of thousands of clients now over the years, and the amount of times when I design a customized meal plan for a client, the amount of times that they say, it's almost every client actually that says the first thing they notice is that their energy improves. So that tells you a lot about how most people eat. They're eating things maybe that are convenient, or just something that they've always ate in the past, or a certain way that they've always ate in the past. And when they start learning some of these new, we'll call them eating skills, they all of a sudden they notice that their energy improves. And then that also helps with your motivation to take action and to continue to take action. And if you have more energy, you're also going to be recovering faster, because when you have low energy, you generally, those two go together, not recovering quickly and having low energy. So um, yeah, that's yeah, that's where I would start with that anyways, for someone in their 20s.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So honestly, I feel like I've learned so much already. And
Yeah.
like when you were giving example of, setting rules so that you
Yeah.
can be fit, right? The one that I know works for me is
Yeah.
when you the last rule you gave, which is what happens if I don't.
Hmm.
Right. That one
Yeah.
works for me well because anytime I feel like quitting or giving up or just like I think I should rest today, I just think, what happens if I don't continue? Right. And if
Yeah.
the thought of it alone just makes me want to bounce back and get to work immediately. So, yes, I think those
Yeah.
rules are very necessary, especially for someone who is planning to take their fitness journey seriously. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know
Very
you've given
smart. That's very
exactly.
smart. That's very smart that you do that. Because we as humans, we change from one of two reasons. It's either inspiration or desperation, and for most
Mhm.
people, it's desperation.
Yes.
So the fact that you hold yourself accountable that way is very smart. And
Mm,
there will be a time when you may find that you don't have to do that, because it becomes just
no.
automatic for you,
Mm,
right? So cool.
exactly.
Thank you for sharing that.
Okay. All right, thank you so much, actually. And yeah, so let's say for someone listening who wants to start their fitness journey, but they feel a bit overwhelmed, right? What do you think
Mhm.
would be the first step they should take to actually becoming more serious with their fitness journey?
Mhm. Yeah, again, another great question. And so what I teach clients is I teach them, I call it the pyramid. It's my own version of a pyramid, where there's three sides to it. You have the nutrition side, the exercise side, and the recovery side. Once I get to understand the client and their lifestyle and what they're currently doing and what's missing, then I will start to address those sides of the pyramid with them. So let's say, for example, it is someone who just, they're exercising, so they know the importance and the value of that. They're also eating fairly well, but say they don't get enough sleep. They're maybe they have kids, or they've started a new job, or they just don't prioritize it because they're spending time scrolling when they should be sleeping. That then that would be where I would start first, because that would be the side that has maybe the most significant weakness.
Mm,
So just focusing on and prioritizing, more sleep or longer sleep or deeper sleep. And so there's all kinds of strategies that people can do
mm,
for that. So say, for example, it's blackout curtains
mm,
or some sort of ritual before they sleep to, calm them down or mellow them out, to
mm,
shut their wheels off from, turning. So again, that would be, minimizing screen time, several hours before bedtime,
mm,
not eating too late. Again, your last meal of the day should be at least 3 hours distant to
mm,
bedtime. Things like maybe for someone it's a bath. Maybe for
mm,
someone it could be meditating. Maybe for someone it could be stretching. Maybe it could be just listening to calming music. Um, I mentioned blackout curtains, so making sure that, there's just little to no light in the room that you sleep in.
mm,
So there's lots of little things that you can do that will improve both length and quality of sleep, because most people on average are getting about 5. That's
mm.
what I typically see. And and definitely when you're exercising on a regular basis, you're going to need, a good amount of sleep, an adequate amount. And everyone's a little bit different again for what they need, but we all need to recover as well as exercise and eat effectively. So that would be an example. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, it's actually important that you mentioned sleep because I feel
Yeah.
like sleep is one of the overlooked thing when it comes to health and
Yeah.
fitness, right? Nobody really thinks about sleep. They do not know the effect sleep has on our health, basically. So, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for mentioning that. And it's good that my listeners know that you can also be eating well. Your nutrition could be good, your fitness could be good, and if your sleep is bad you will not see results. Right?
Yeah.
So I think they
Yeah.
need to know that we as humans need to find a balance amongst these. We need to find a balance. Just sleep well, sleep when it is time to sleep, be awake when
Mm.
it's time to be awake, eat well, like you said, eat carbs, vegetables, and things that would make us feel better. And then, yes, build muscles, go to the gym, just live long and healthy lifestyle. So yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
This has been amazing, Ty. And
Cool.
yes, I have this one question for you, right? It's a bit
You bet.
personal.
Fire away.
All right. So what are you currently working on or building that excites you the most right now?
Yeah. So sport nutrition is my passion. That's what I
Oh,
started, right when I started in the fitness industry. I had, first of all, my own personal experiences with nutrition
mm,
that were quite literally life-changing and game-changing for me when I figured out what worked and what didn't. But then when I started working with clients, I noticed that they were really confused about nutrition. And
mm,
at that time, there wasn't access to a lot of information on nutrition. Now it's the opposite. Now we have too much information and
mm.
people are still just as confused as they were back then.
Yeah.
So my focus and what I'm building is all nutrition related now. So, for example, I've created a line of natural health products for
Mm,
clients, and I love creating natural health products, and the reason why is because I found them so effective once they're added to a proper eating program. So
mm,
just to take a step back, food should always be the foundation. However, the way our food is treated and the depleted soils that we grow our food on now doesn't
mm,
supply us with nutrients in optimum amounts. And my approach is always about how do we optimize? How do we optimize each side of the triangle? And then on each side of the triangle, I dive deep into how to maximize or optimize each component, whether it's exercise, nutrition, or recovery. So nutrition has just always been my passion, and it continues to evolve. There's so much more research that's done in the field of nutrition now that makes it, even more exciting. And although I know a lot, and I know a lot about what works, and I know a lot about what doesn't work, I'm never
Mm,
going to know it all. And so it keeps it really exciting for me. And so once the foundation of food has been designed in a way that's optimal for an individual, then there are certain natural health products that you can include that just optimizes everything to the max, so to speak. And whether that's aesthetically or through performance, and because I work with both types of clients, um, there are really cool things that you can do that expedite the process when you incorporate certain nutrients into a meal plan and exercise program.
mm,
So I guess really to sum up the answer is now I'm developing natural health products for both clients and for fitness professionals to so fitness professionals can incorporate them in their programs that they create for their clients so that their clients get even better results. So I'm in the phase of mentoring almost in a way other fitness professionals on the topic of sport nutrition specifically.
Sport nutrition. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
by the way, I think you're doing amazing, actually. And
Thank you.
I wish you a long-term success in your
Thank
endeavor,
you.
actually. All
Thank you.
right, Tai. This brings me to the final segment of my podcast. It's called the rapid fire segment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Rock and roll.
Okay. So
Okay.
starting now, cardio
Yeah.
or weights?
Say that again. Cardio or
Cardio,
weights?
cardio or
I'm
weights?
going to say weights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. What's the best time to train?
Mornings.
Mornings.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
One habit for consistency.
Renew your goals every day to
Hmm.
yourself.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the biggest fitness myth?
That weight training makes women bulky. Just not true.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
ashamed. I'm ashamed to say this. I used to think that way too, right? That if I
Most
train
people
too
do. Most people do, which is why I knew that. It was it's I yeah, that's one that a lot of women, a lot of women are afraid to use more than 5 pound hand weights. And
exactly.
they just do themselves such a disservice
Hmm.
because they could be stronger, they could feel more athletic, feel more fit.
Hmm.
And also, as we age, osteoporosis is a concern, and even more within the female demographic. So it would be a disservice to only ever use just 5 pound hand weights. So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you so much for that one.
yeah,
At
yeah.
least I'm gonna stop believing that. All right. So yes,
Cool.
finally, what is
Yeah.
one word that defines discipline?
One word that defines discipline. I
Mm,
mean, commitment is the word that comes to mind. Um,
mm,
and not commitment. It's more about commitment to yourself,
mm,
right? Rather than commitment to the workout or commitment to,
mm,
you know, the meal plan.
mm.
Um, it's about commitment to you, and um, yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes. So yeah, thank you so much, Ty. This has been
Thank
amazing.
you.
I've learned so much already, especially the one with not lifting weights as a woman.
Yeah,
Okay, so Ty, where can listeners get to learn more about you and what you do?
yeah. So they can visit me at taierasmus.com. So it's TAIERASMUS.com, or at myfit, the number two, win.com. And for your viewers and listeners, if they want more information about goal setting, or to learn a little bit more about nutrition. I do have a downloadable gift that they can, if you want to add it to your YouTube page or wherever you
Yeah.
like, I can provide that to you, and they can continue their journey.
I would really appreciate that actually. I'm gonna put it in
Sure.
my show notes so it's easily
Awesome.
accessible to to my listeners and me too, because I'm gonna
Yep.
learn it right now. All
It's
right.
for
So
everyone. Yep. Cool.
okay, thank you so much, Ty. This has been
Thank you.
amazing. I really did appreciate this episode, especially the fact that it has to do with young adults and literally physical wellness, nutrition, and everything, right? It's just about our wellness. So thank you so much, Ty. And
My pleasure.
yes, to my listeners, thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone you think might need this and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Thank you, Ty. Do have a wonderful day.